think it's kind of always been true that you need to differentiate on your messaging. Like, and now it's just becoming even more and more true. Like, yes, there's a competitive landscape for every product category out there. And if the only differences were truly features, then uh they'd all split market share evenly, I feel. Like
Yeah.
it would just be a random draw of the hat and you're like, okay, they're all the same. Let's just like pick one. And so I think the brands that win are the ones that have like a strong voice, you with content, they're the ones that like people know about, the ones that have share. Um, and when it comes to messaging and like stuff on the website, I feel like it's just being the people who can tell their story in the most clear and compelling way are gonna get the win. And so I think all that this AI commoditization of actual software is going to do is just to make the words even more important that you use to talk about your stuff.
Yeah, but we also have another paradox over there, and that is that AI made it easy for all the other companies, to get in the content game, to start writing, to start publishing, to start sharing their voice, right? Now, unfortunately, from what I could see, it's all crap, and it's just recycling the same information and insights that you can find all over the web. But how do you said that the brands that have the best clarity and that spread that messaging in the easiest way, like how does that clarity look like for you?
So in my world of like product messaging, and I'm working a lot on like product pages, that looks like very clear, straightforward, not fluffy language. Like, this is literally what our product does, and this is who it does it for. And it's just a lot more straightforward. I feel like uh, it's less value, sort of like outcome, sort of like fluff. I don't know how else to say it. But the pages that seem to work really well. I mean, there's like some components that really matter, like the things in the hero that really matter, being able to articulate the problem that the people have more clearly than other competitors. Like, if we're just talking features and we just list out the features, like we can all do that, but who's going to be able to talk to the actual pain I have, or like the problems that I have the best? Those are the people I'm like, oh, okay, they probably get it. Like, they can help me more than just the product can help me, but they actually like understand me. And so I think empathy and messaging with like the customers, like voice, like those are the things that AI can't just automatically replicate. Those are the things that are like, oh, it's very clear that exactly accountants who work at $10 million companies. You know exactly the problems that they have. And so when you say it and you put it on your page, then if I'm an accountant at a $10 million company, I'm like, yes, I get it. You get it. I get what you're doing.
So I'm not the messaging expert here, but I would say that it's not just enough to have a good positioning and good messaging on your website. Like, how do you communicate that with the world, and how do you connect that kind of positioning and messaging with every other marketing, sales, or the product activity that you do, to make that message even more stronger, even more compelling, to have more reach. You get what I'm trying to say?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's just marketing, I think. That's just like all of marketing. So, it's not an easy problem to fix, and it's like what every business needs to do to exist. And so I think positioning starts with like strategy and like what kind of category are we in? Who are we competing against? Who do we want to sell to? What are the things that they care about? Like, all that stuff is strategic that needs to be in place. And then the messaging part needs to also be just like rock solid, where this is exactly the story we're trying to tell, and you don't want it being too varied. Like, these are the the main points of the plot that we are definitely trying to tell over and over again. And so if you are like in the companies that I've worked in or that like clients I've had, like the places where you can retell the story, and maybe it's not the exact same words every time, but like I can talk to 5 different people and they can kind of tell like the main story of the business and why they exist and who they serve and all that stuff. Like those are the ones that all the content is like working because they are they're building content from a foundation of messaging that is really solid. And when I work with clients, I call it a blueprint because we're like, we need to build a messaging blueprint so that every time you make a video, every time you do a social post, every time you write a blog, all the stuff, like you're grounding yourself in the same story over and over again. And like that's how positioning and copy and messaging all kind of interplay. Um, and I think, yeah, AI can kind of like spit out a bunch of stuff, but if it's not really like consistently telling a good, compelling, emotional story over and over again, then it's just like you said, it's just you're gonna read it, it's gonna be like overwhelming, and it's not gonna really capture you. Not even getting to the point of like specific ways of telling that story, like in video or whatever.
Yeah. How does that blueprint look like?